If history is the reconstruction of thought, then most history is done wrong. In the last video, we followed R.G. Collingwood to a radical conclusion. History is not simply the study of events, it is the reconstruction of thought. To understand the past is to think through the reasoning of those who acted within it. But if that is true, then a difficult question follows. Why does so much history feel shallow? Why does it often read like a sequence of facts, rather than an understanding of human action? Collingwood believed the answer was simple. Most historians misunderstand what they are doing. They believe they are collecting facts, gathering documents, recording what happened, and assembling those pieces into a narrative. But this approach, he argued, rests on a false assumption, that facts exist independently, waiting to be collected. We often speak as if historical facts are simply there, fixed, objective, waiting to be discovered. But Collingwood challenges this idea. Because the past is gone, what remains are not facts, but traces, documents, letters, artifacts, fragments of evidence, and these fragments do not explain themselves. They do not speak. They do not interpret their own meaning. This leads to one of Collingwood's sharpest criticisms, what he calls scissors and paste history, a method in which the historian collects statements from sources, cuts them out, and assembles them into a story, as if quoting enough documents will produce truth. But Collingwood argues this is not history at all. It is a compilation, because it treats sources as if they were already understood, as if their meaning were obvious, as if they required no interpretation. But the real problem goes deeper, because a document is not a fact. It is a statement made by someone for a reason, at a particular moment, under particular conditions, and unless we understand that context, we do not understand the document at all. This leads to a crucial shift. For Collingwood, evidence does not exist on its own. It only exists in relation to a question. A letter is not evidence by itself. It becomes evidence. When we ask, what problem was this person trying to solve? What situation were they responding to? What did they believe they were doing? Without a question, there is no evidence, only fragments. And this changes the role of the historian completely. The historian is not a passive observer, not a collector of data, but an active thinker, someone who asks questions, interprets answers, reconstructs reasoning. The historian does not simply report the past. They work to make it intelligible. This is also why Collingwood rejected the idea that history could be treated like a science. Science studies external events, repeatable processes, observable patterns, but history is different. It deals with human thought, decisions, intentions, judgment, and these cannot be reduced to laws. They cannot be measured in the same way. They must be understood from within. When historians forget this, history begins to distort. It becomes a collection of disconnected facts, a narrative shaped by unexamined assumptions, or worse, a tool for reinforcing ideas that were never questioned. Because if evidence depends on the questions we ask, then history is shaped not only by what happened, but by how we choose to interpret it. And this leads to a deeper realization. History is not neutral, not in the sense we often imagine. It is a discipline that depends on judgment, on interpretation, on the ability to think clearly about human action, which means bad history is not just incomplete, it is misleading, because it replaces understanding with appearance. For Collingwood, the real historian is not the one who knows the most facts. It is the one who can think most clearly, the one who can enter into the reasoning of the past and reconstruct it faithfully. Because history is not something we observe. It is something we must work to understand. If we misunderstand how history works, we misunderstand human action itself. And if we misunderstand human action, we risk misunderstanding the present, because the past is not just something we left behind us. It is something we are still trying to think through. In the next episode on this topic, we'll go further into Collingwood's philosophy and examine what it means to truly understand the past, not as a sequence of events, but as a process of thought.